Welcome back to another edition of Six Borough Sports, your home for New York and South Florida sports. Today, we're going to get a little bit caught up because we took a 1 week break, but we're back and we're going to talk some Mets who started the season pretty terribly, some Marlins who started the season really terribly, a little bit of Yankees, and then we'll get into FAU's new hire, John Jacobs, and then we'll finish up with the big news out of the NBA. Julius Randle out for the season. But first, before we start, I got to remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel, trying to get up to at least 20 subscribers. So if you could subscribe and like the video, I'd really appreciate it. So, starting off with the New York Mets, really disappointing opening series, getting totally shellacked by the Milwaukee Brewers, our new GM's David Stern's former team. And then they get punked by Hoskins, and then they fail to throw a pitch at him, and then everyone, the manager and the relief pitcher, gets suspended. Total disaster, total debacle. And then they go and play the Detroit Tigers, and they lose an extra innings because they can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position, and then proceed to do the same thing again in the first half of the doubleheader. Now, thankfully, they won right before recording this. Tyrone Taylor. Whenever I hear that name, I think Tyrod Taylor. Got the game-winning single to knock in Brett Batty for a walk-off win. Feels pretty good, but at the same time, not the way you wanted to start the season. Nimmo, McNeil, Wendell, Lindor, all not hitting at all. It's really bad. The bats are just not working. Hopefully they can start picking it up. I would be playing young players no matter what happens this year. If the vets aren't doing it, they need to learn to appreciate playing again. It feels like the veterans are just not enjoying playing right now. Um, I don't blame them. There's a lot of pressure right now, but I think the young guys need to come in and show them like, hey, we can have fun playing again. Because just the general attitude and like seeing guys batting .057 and like all-star player caliber players playing .057 batting average is just unacceptable. I know it's so early in the season, but you had spring training. This isn't like you were not practicing, and this is totally fresh, and it's frustrating. Batty though has been stepping up, and Alvarez has been fantastic. I will give a shout out to Pete Alonso for kind of staying steady throughout all this. But even he had that he went out after one of the games and was at a concert and was dancing on stage, and I was like, it's not the worst thing, but it's not a good look. You had all off season. You could have partied down in Florida and no one would have cared. When you were in spring training down in Port St. Lucie, you could have made a day trip down to Miami. No one would have cared. But instead you're partying and getting swept by the Brewers and getting embarrassed by the Brewers in humiliating fashion. I also really like Budo, Manaya, and Hauser. Really stepped up, had quality starts. Quintana wasn't too bad. I needed more innings out of him, so we're not, struggling with the bullpen so much. Um, but Severino was really, really disappointing. I was hoping he would, come out strong and, or at least, okay, 3 or 4 run game. He got absolutely wrecked. It was like he never left the Yankees. So that was extremely disappointing. But yeah, I think this year, like I said, is going to be about the young guys. We should be getting back JD Martinez. Not getting back. We never had him. We're finally getting him. We should be getting JD Martinez. That should hopefully open up the lineup a little bit more. And Senga should be coming out soon. We did lose Tyler McGill, who wasn't pitching great, but he might have been injured. Um, I mean, how many chances is this guy going to get? I'm not even anti Tyler McGill. It's just he gets chance after chance after chance and never really capitalizes. So He's kind of like Lucchesi, which I wish Lucchesi would have stepped up, and he hasn't either. Um, so the Mets have their work cut out for them because they started the season by digging themselves into a hole, but at least they're not as bad as the Miami Marlins. Woo, they are starting the season 0-8. They can hit. They can hit. They can score runs. Right now, their pitching staff has just been eviscerated by injuries. They just lost another pitcher to Tommy John. And they lost a lot of their roster to, free agency and just not wanting to spend a whole nickel on players in the offseason. They lost Soler and Birdie and Wendell. They lost a lot of people from that team. So they might be in deep trouble. They might be big sellers, which the Mets should look into because they might be able to get something for some of these guys. But we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, the Yankees started the season off great. They swept the Astros, and right after they swept the Astros threw a no hitter, just wild. Um, but Juan Soto is not going anywhere. He really seems to be enjoying himself as a Yankee, so that's really unfortunate. I was hoping he would start off slow and he would get the boo birds, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Yankee fans are really going to like him. And he's a likable player. He's fun to watch, and he made some big plays in that first series that are going to really endear him to Yankee fans, especially against the Astros, who the hypocritical Yankees, view as cheaters, even though they were doing the same thing. But yeah, the Yankees are going to be definitely. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't know if they're the best team in the East though, because the Baltimore Orioles are not only stacked with their roster, but they're stacked with their minor league roster. They scored 26 runs in a game the other day, and they had one player. He was 5 for 7 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. Uh, Terrifying. They're probably the best team in baseball, and their minor league system is the best in baseball. I don't know. They're very dangerous. I would like to see maybe like an Orioles Arizona World Series right now. I guess that's what I'm kind of rooting for. I really like the Montgomery signing to Arizona. That was a fantastic idea. 1 year deal. They could, if they have a bad season, they could trade him at the deadline and get something for him. And they have a good young core. I really like what Arizona is doing. I hope they go far again. And they should be fun to watch, especially against like powerhouses like the Dodgers, Giants, and not so much the Padres. The Padres are kind of like the Mets of the West, spending a lot of money. But the West, the NL West should be very interesting, and I want to see how that goes. Moving on, we got some FAU basketball news. Dusty May unfortunately decided to move on and go to Michigan. Don't really blame him. It's a great opportunity for him, and he earned it. So congrats to him. But FAU moved pretty quickly and hired John Jacobs. I'm hoping I'm not butchering the name, but I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a hardcore college basketball expert and say, oh, this is a fantastic hire because I know all about him. But based on his resume, he has a lot of good credentials with his experience with Baylor and Gonzaga to make me believe that this is a pretty good hire. He's got administrative experience, which should help FAU grow the program. So that should be really exciting. Hopefully, he can get some players to transfer to FAU because they're going to need to rebuild the program quickly because they're going to lose a lot of guys to the transfer portal, including Janelle Davis, who may go with Dusty up to Michigan or enter the NBA draft. So it's interesting to see. I want to see how well FAU plays next year and see if they can continue the momentum of being a consistent, competitive tournament basketball program. And finally, we're going to end with the unfortunate news that Julius Randle needs shoulder surgery and will be out for the season. And this pretty much, I mean, unless it's a miracle, closes the door on any sort of hope that the Knicks could win the finals this year or even make it to the finals. I don't think they were going to beat the Western team, but It's really unfortunate. You know, they had an uphill struggle going against Milwaukee and Boston. Sixers got Embiid back today. The Heat are always dangerous, and don't sleep on Orlando or Cleveland either. But now this just kind of puts the Knicks in a hard spot. Um, and feel kind of bad. I wanted to see. I think this is the best iteration of their team in recent years, and we're not going to be able to see them at full potential in the playoffs. They needed another player besides Randall, I think, to make the next push, and unfortunately, they're not going to have him for the playoffs. Granted, also he doesn't really show up in the playoffs, so maybe it might help them. Who knows? But I do know he's a talented player, and it sucks. I didn't get to see the video, but Stephen A. looked devastated. But again, you should the postseason should be interesting. I have a feeling like some of the lower seed like Golden State or the Lakers are going to push someone around. You know, you got those new teams like the Wolves and the Thunder up at the top in the West, but until further notice, the Nuggets are the best team, and I'll continue to say that. But that's it for this week. I'm gonna, like I said, try to continue with more consistent posting. It's been a little bit of a hectic few weeks here, but we're gonna keep it going. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you real soon.